Hello students, welcome to a lesson through the virtual training center of the Brihan Mumbai Mahanagar Palika. My name is Shraddha teacher, and in this lockdown period, since we are not able to go to school, children, we will be doing many lessons here online through the virtual class. So come on, let's proceed to our lesson for today.
Now, if you remember, children, we were doing a lesson in English. That is, we were talking about the lesson called The Necklace last time, and we did the first half of the story, isn't it? We talked about the person who has written this story, that is a French man called as Guy de Maupassant. We talked about the various characters in the story. That is, we talked about Monsieur Loisel, we talked about Madame Loisel and her friend Madame Forestier, and what all happened in the first part of the story. We saw that Madame Loisel, or Mathilde as she is called in this particular story, is a lady who is very interested in showing off that she's got a lot of wealth, she's got a lot of property, and she's never happy with her circumstances. She always keeps cursing her husband, and she's not happy that she doesn't have a lot of money, and she wants to prove to society that she owns a lot of jewelry, a lot of good clothes, all right. And for that reason, when she is invited to a ball, she borrows this particular necklace, which seems to be very expensive, all right, and she wears it. And in the last half of the story, we saw last time that unfortunately she loses the necklace. The necklace falls off her neck somewhere. So that was part 1 of the story. Now let's move on and let's see what happens in part 2 of the story this time. So here we will see, continuing with the story, we will see that Mathilde is all worried, she's all worked up, okay. She's lost the precious necklace that she borrowed from her friend Madame Forestier, and she knows that she does not have any money to buy another necklace for her, and she will have to somehow or the other return Madame Forestier's necklace. So she starts searching for the necklace high and low. Her husband and she, they start searching for the necklace everywhere possible. The first place they go to is the police station. So Monsieur Loisel, he goes to the police station and he tries to lodge a complaint that they have lost this kind of a necklace, and if someone finds it, they can return it back to them. After the police station, he even goes to a newspaper office. You know, now when sometimes people lose certain things, or when a person gets lost, what do the relatives do? They put up an ad in the newspaper, an advertisement in the newspaper, saying that if someone finds this person loitering around, or if they find the object, they can return it to its owner and they can claim a reward, isn't it? So newspaper office is what they do when you go and give this kind of a request that I have lost a necklace, and if someone returns it, I will give them a small reward. So the newspaper office will publish it in their newspaper the next day, okay. So our person in the story, that is a character in the story, Monsieur Loisel. Now Monsieur, children, is a way of saying Mr. in French. It is a title in French. It is Monsieur. We say Monsieur Loisel. And for the lady, we say Madame or Madame Loisel. Okay. So our story, the hero in our story, Monsieur Loisel, he goes to the police station. He goes to the newspaper office and he tries to lodge a complaint, or in any way he is desperate now to get the necklace back. Why? Because the necklace doesn't belong to him. It belongs to someone else. He has just borrowed it and now he needs to return it, isn't it? He also goes and checks with all the taxi drivers in the town, because they had taken a taxi back home. So he goes and searches in all the taxis also. But unfortunately, he is not able to find the necklace anywhere. But his wife has to return the necklace to her friend. So what they do now is, they start thinking, and then they finally decide that somehow the necklace has to be returned, and therefore they go to a shop and they try to find a necklace which is similar to the one that they have lost. Fortunately for them, they find one piece which is very similar the necklace that this lady has lost, Matilde. Okay, but when they ask about the cost of the necklace, they get a big shock because the necklace costs 40,000 francs. Now, like we say rupees in India, we say dollars in America, you say francs in French. Okay, it is the French currency, francs. So the cost of the necklace, they say, is 40,000 francs. But the shopkeeper agrees to sell it for 36,000 francs. Now remember, children, 36,000 francs is a big amount. Okay, and for someone who doesn't have too much money, like Monsieur Loisel and Madame Loisel, it is actually a bigger burden. How will they get so much money from? From where will they bring all this money? Somehow or the other, they take loan from a bank, they take loan from people who give money on interest, and they sell away their property. So in a way, you can say, in order to return the necklace, they destroy themselves. Alright, and finally, after so much of trouble, after so much of, you can say, they become zero themselves. Now they do not have any property with them, they do not have any bank balance with them, they have taken a lot of loan, and now they do not know how to return it. They will have to work very hard, they will have to change their entire lifestyle. Okay, all this was for what? For a necklace which she has worn just to show off that she's got a lot of money. So they collect this 36,000 francs somehow, they buy this particular necklace, and Madame Mathilde or Madame Loisel, she goes and she returns it to Madame Forestier. Now the real trouble in their life starts from now. They lead a very, very difficult life after that. They do not have enough to eat, alright? They have to continuously borrow money and then return the money. Madame Loisel has to work in people's houses. Okay, she has to do all kinds of menial jobs, and they have to live a life of utter poverty. Why all this? Remember, we are always going back to the point that borrowing this necklace was of no use. It had no end actually. She could have just worn what she had and she could have gone to the party. No one would have questioned her, no one would have judged her. So children, sometimes most of the things that we do just to show others, okay, just to impress others, lead to a lot of trouble in our life. In Hindi they say, अपनी जितनी चादर हो उतनी ही हमको पैर फैलाना चाहिए. That means we should never try to live beyond our means. If you have a friend who's very rich and his lifestyle is very good, you should not look at that person and start feeling jealous and start living like him because he's got that money and you don't have. Okay? So this is a very big moral that we can take away from this particular lesson. So moving on with the story, you will see that, look at this picture of Madame Loisel here, or Mathilde as we call her in the story. You can see that she looks like an old woman now. She was very young, but later on, in quite a few years, she looks like a very, very old woman because life has been very, very unfair to her. Okay? Now time passes and the ladies, they don't meet each other. Mathilde and Madame Forestier, they have not met each other for a long time now after returning the necklace. Madame Forestier is rich and she continues with her life, whereas Mathilde, poor thing, she's suffering and suffering just because of that one necklace. Alright, and she's cursing herself. She curses herself day in and day out for simply trying to make a show of things and borrowing the necklace. One day, after a long time, suddenly, out of the blue, one fine day, Madame Loisel and Madame Forestier happened to meet each other. Now see, they are both friends, okay? They have studied together in school. But look at how they look different, isn't it? See, the one on the left is Mathilde and the one on the right is Madame Forestier. See how young, youthful, beautiful Madame Forestier looks. And look at our poor Mathilde. See how her condition is? She looks like an old, haggard woman, isn't it? And Madame Forestier is shocked. She asks her friend Mathilde, how come you've become like this? What is wrong with you? Are you sick? Are you in some kind of trouble? And that is the time when Mathilde narrates the story of the necklace and the repayment that they have been making for the 36,000 francs. Now comes the twist in the story, children. When Mathilde tells Madame Forestier, my life has been horrible because of that necklace I borrowed 10 years ago. Can you imagine what reply Madame Forestier gives to Mathilde? She says, oh my God, my friend, that necklace was false. False in the sense it was not even a necklace made up of real diamonds. It was a false necklace. But both of them, this lady, she hid from her friend. Madame Forestier, when she gave the necklace to Mathilde, she should have told her that this is not a very expensive necklace, it only looks like that, it is a false necklace. And even Mathilde, she did not bother to tell her friend the truth. She should have gone up and should have told her friend, see, I have lost your necklace, I will return it to you at any cost. That time her friend would have surely told her that, madam, it is not a real one, it is a fake one. But they kept things hidden from each other. This is the second moral that we can take away from the story. Be frank, be open, be truthful about things. It will save you a lot of trouble in life. Okay? So these things we learn from the story, and we see how false pride leads to a fall, how being untruthful, how hiding things from people who are close to us can also land you in a lot of trouble in life. So that was the story, children, of the necklace or the diamond necklace, which is written by Guy de Maupassant. Okay? Now, as we do each time, we look at a little bit of grammar point from our textbook. So in the grammar point today, we will look at certain points later. In the beginning now, let us look at the you can say written part, or you can say the written skill development part in our textbook, writing skill, that is writing an invitation letter. So you have this invitation letter in your textbook where they are asking you to write an invitation. Before that, let us look at this particular, you can say model, or you can say specimen of an invitation. So this is an invitation written by the management of a school, and it is being given out because of the annual day function. So the school management wants people means people connected to the school, the children, the parents, etc., to attend the annual day function. So let us just read how an invitation will look like. Okay, so the management, the principal, staff and students of Navodaya Public School, Ajmer, request your benevolent presence on the auspicious occasion of the annual function of their school. Now, when is the annual function? It is at 10 a.m. on September the 12th. And they are saying that there is a very important person who will preside over the function, and he will distribute the prizes to the winners. And this invitation is being sent out by the principal of Navodaya Public School, Ajmer. Now remember, this is an official invitation, children. So when there is a annual function in the school, it will be conducted in the school itself. If the school decides to do it elsewhere, they will inform the people who have been invited. So that is the reason that the venue is not written over here. Now you have a small exercise based on this invitation in your textbook also. Let us look at that particular exercise. Here we are going to do some fill in the blanks. But before that, let us highlight what is there in this particular invitation. So this invitation is being sent out by a couple, Mr. and Mrs. Okay, so you can write any name that you want over here. You can write your own name, you can write my name, you can write your friend's name. So I have chosen the name Mr. and Mrs. Sharma here. So Mr. and Mrs. Sharma, they solicit the pleasure of your company on the occasion of the. So why are they inviting you? So the occasion is the birthday of their son. Alright? So can you change the occasion? You can change the occasion to anything that you want. You can say naming ceremony, you can say opening of the house, inauguration of the house, anything that you desire or you feel good or that situation demands. According to your situation, you can change the words over here. So these people, Mr. and Mrs. Sharma, they are inviting someone to the birthday of their son. It is important to tell the date and the day. So it is on Friday and the date is the 16th of August. Now one very important thing here is, children, the venue. Venue means where will the birthday function take place. So it will be at Pearl Hall, and the timing is also extremely important. So the timing is 6 a.m. So whatever you see here on the screen in red color, these are the things which are very, very essential if you are inviting someone. So you need to put out the name of the person who's inviting, the occasion for which you're inviting someone, the day, the date, the place and the time. The remaining part of the invitation, you can use words according to your vocabulary. Alright, let us go back to our previous invitation and let us check whether all these elements are common. Yes, so we have the person who's inviting, we have what the invitation is for, we have the day, the date, the timing, okay, and venue is of course the school. Okay children, so this was one language skill, you can say part or portion in your textbook in this particular lesson about writing an invitation. You have an invitation to a ball as an instance in this particular lesson, isn't it? So they are invited to a ball, and I told you the last time, ball means a party actually, and that is the reason this entire story starts, isn't it? They invited to a ball, so Mathilde goes to borrow the necklace. So this was the invitation part. Now let us quickly, we have a few minutes left into the lesson. Let us quickly look at some grammar portion now, without which our lesson is always incomplete. So we will look at determiners today in English. So what are determiners, children? They play a very important role in English grammar. Determiners are nothing but words which precede a noun. Precede means it comes before a noun. Okay? So a word which comes before a noun and it is used to express the reference of the noun. For example, I say this book, this. So I want to say it is this book, not that book. Alright, so this word will be the determiner here. It is used to modify the meaning of a noun. So see, when I am saying this book, I mean the one which is lying close to me, not the one which is lying far away from me. If I want to talk about the book which is lying far away from me, I would say that book. So it is modifying the meaning of the noun, the book. Isn't it? If you do not understand these grammar points, children, grammar is a very difficult topic to talk about and understand in English. If you do not understand grammar in this format, which is not interactive, you can do one thing. You can rewind the video and you can watch it again. Rewind the video n number of times and you can watch it again till you understand. Okay? So, let us look at an easy meaning now. You are in the 9th standard, so we discussed a difficult meaning of determiner. To make it easy for you, a determiner is a word that introduces a noun. For example, if you go to your school with your brother, to your teacher, what do you say? This is my brother. My brother, not someone else's. Okay, so my there is a determiner. So determiners are words that introduce a noun and provide some information about it. Just some information, okay? For example, see, the balls. The now here is the definite article. We have learnt about articles, isn't it? A, an and the. So the here is the definite article. His son. Not my son, not your son. His son. 5 cats. So 5 here is a quantifier. You can also say that 5 is an adjective. More cars. So more is a quantifier. Okay? So these are all determiners which we use in English. Let us look at some more examples. So determiners could be articles, they could be demonstrators or demonstrative pronouns, they could be possessive adjectives, they could be quantifiers, numbers or ordinals. Okay, so this is all the time that we have, children. Now quickly, this is the last exercise in your textbook based on determiners. So look at the examples here. We already explained, I already told you what the meaning of determiners are. Let us look at these examples here. So the necklace, the is a determiner. An error, so an is a determiner. All these things, so all these is the determiner. Another woman, another is a determiner. One evening, so one is a determiner. Her husband, her is the determiner. Alright, so no need to tell you again. The determiners are what? They are words which precede the noun and which tell us or specify more about the noun that we are talking about.
So children, wasn't that a wonderful video? And did you enjoy watching it? So if you want to watch more such videos in future, then please like this video and also subscribe to our channel, the MCGM Portal for Education, and also hit the bell button so that you get notified whenever I upload a new video here. Thank you so much for now. Let's meet again soon.